Welcome to another episode of Crosstalk. My name is Kevin Tocci, and I will be your host for the next 30 minutes. What we like to do with this particular program is talk about community items, things that are going on, whether it's the two communities that we serve, the Whitman and Hanson area, maybe something fun that's going on in and around the South Shore, and that's kind of the vehicle we're going to use today. We have two fine young ladies who are here joining me. And in the past, we've had folks from the Hingham Civic Music Theatre to talk about an upcoming event. And guess what? That's what we're going to do today. We are going to speak with Jess Phaneuf, and we have Stephanie Blaney, and we have Mum, who is also working the crew. Jeannie's helping us, so we want to thank Jeannie, who's on one of these cameras. You'll never know, but she's on one of these cameras helping out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll start with Jess.
Well, my name is Jess Phaneuf. I'm from Bridgewater, Mass. And I went to school in Boston, Emerson College, and got into radio in college. So I've been doing broadcasting for the last stretch of time. And my only theater roots, so to speak, were in high school. So this is my first time getting back on stage since high school. And I know I look young, but it's actually been about 12 years. So back on stage with this great group. It's actually a friend from high school who's been involved with the group that got me into this great group of folks. So this will be my first time back on stage singing and dancing and acting. And
it's funny, you talk about being in radio. You do not have a face for radio. That's where where the less beautiful people like to hide is behind the microphone and use their voice to be able to share information with the world.
Yeah, I work, mostly doing music. At first, I thought I would do a little NPR type stuff, but I really like the music side of things, so I love listening to a ton of new music. I'm the assistant music director at the station too, so I listen to music constantly, which is nice.
And are they adult contemp, or what's their?
It's AAA, Adult Album Alternative. It stands for, it's a public radio station and listener supported, so we do a lot of fundraising and things like that. So.
Yay.
Yeah.
But you're back in theater, and just to tease folks, this is for Beauty and the Beast. I'll remind you at the end of the program, but show opens up on a Saturday, October 15th at 7:30.
Yep.
Sunday is a matinee on the 16th, and then the following week, because I kind of got a little confused, because normally I've done a little theater myself, and normally it opens on a Friday. So the second week is a Friday, the 21st, and Saturday, both of those 7:30, and then it's 2 o'clock. It's a matinee. Stephanie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 17. I'm a junior at Rockland High School. This is kind of my first adult show, you can say, Beauty and the Beast is, where I've done a lot of teen shows in the past I just finished Almost Maine at Company Theater, where I played Marvelyn, and then in high school when I was Peter Pan and Peter Pan. But coming to Hingham, it was my first time going to an audition and seeing a bunch of adults there, and there are so many people. How many people were there? Like 73 or something?
70 plus, yeah.
70 plus, and they only took probably around 30 people. So
what's that process like for you guys? I mean, knowing that you're going to be competing with someone for a particular part, and maybe there's got to be like a little wish list. Maybe you might want to lead. Maybe like, I'll do ensemble. I mean,
it's very nerve-wracking. I personally know I'm terrible at auditions because my nerves just get the better of me. I have to say, this is the most comfortable audition process I've ever been through because the people behind the desk were just so warming and welcoming, and they actually came into the auditioning room before the actual auditions, which never happens, just to talk to us, like ease our nerves, kind of just say your name, sing your song, it's fine. And
give me your best 16 bars.
Yeah, basically. And then callbacks were just so, I didn't know who they were going to cast or anything at first because everybody they called back was amazing.
So true. A lot of talent in the room at callbacks, and everyone was supporting each other too, even people going for the same role. I found that. So it was really a great vibe. I was really nervous, just like Stephanie was, especially since it was my first time auditioning in over a decade. So I was really kind of freaking out. But once you got past that initial audition phase where you just get up there and sing yourself, the callbacks were really a great experience. And I think both of us might have been hopeful that we would be Belle,
Yeah, which was kind of weird for me since I'm 17 going up against a lot older, more experienced women. So I was like, they had me read a few scenes for Belle and sing a few of her songs, and I was just like, this is a little weird. I don't think I mean, on the audition piece, I did put that I was auditioning for her just to be hopeful.
Sure.
But then seeing that I am the youngest adult cast member, I kind of figured I wouldn't have gotten it, but I was so thankful for them to call me back and at least see me for the role. But I ended up getting ensemble, and Jess and I are in a lot of scenes together. I think almost every scene we are in together.
Dancing a ton.
Dancing. This is a big dance show.
Really?
Yes.
Who's the choreographer?
Julie Grant is choreographing, yes.
The amazing Julie
You
Grant.
might know Julie.
Amazing.
Yes, we've had her here before.
Oh, yes. We
She
love
is,
Julie.
She is amazing.
She
Really,
is
really.
amazing. I don't think she gives herself enough credit for the amount of work that she does for the show. And working with so many different kinds of talent, we have us who we do a can section and be our guest, and then she goes to the wolf chase section where it's more like contemporary kind of dance and just the amount of dance. And then we have this beautiful ballerina whose name is Danielle, who's on point for the prologue of it, who, if you want to see a beautiful dancer, she is incredible. So the amount of levels of different kind of dance, different kind of songs and everything is just amazing. It will blow you away.
How much of a challenge is that? You know, anybody who's done theater knows, depending on where you are, I mean, it's tough enough getting your lines down and knowing, hitting your marks when it comes to interacting with another actor. Then to be able to be on point as a group that's out on stage is yet another feat. Am I correct?
Yes, you are completely correct. I think just because I'm not a dancer, the dancing sections were a little bit more difficult for me. And plus singing on top of that, because we don't have people in the wings singing with us. When you see us dancing and going full out, that's also us singing while doing that. And it takes a lot of breath support, but I think compared to where we were at the beginning, we're so much better with sounding good while looking good.
Yeah,
Your thoughts?
Stephanie's right. It's the adding singing once we've learned the choreography that is the toughest part, because we know these dance moves. And it's funny, by the way, to hear her say she's not a dancer, because she's probably the best dancer among us, and we're all trying to keep up, and she's very good at remembering. It must be because she's so young. She remembers the steps, and so we've learned the steps now, we're putting it together, singing on top of that. You know, when we were having voice rehearsals where we would sing the songs and then separate dance rehearsals, now we're putting it together, and it's a little like this, you know, it's tough to put that together. That's the challenge right now.
Yeah, definitely.
For each of you, what's the fun part of being a part of a cast? Yourself, Jess, you said it's been a decade since you've been a part of that. You're somebody who's been doing it more on a regular basis. So kind of give me each of your thoughts on it, starting with you, Jess.
I think the best part about doing this production, it's great to get back on stage for me personally, but the best part, and I think everyone would agree, is the community it builds and the togetherness. I mean, when you're learning these steps and these lines and the singing and putting it all together and adding props and trying to, you know, community theater especially, everyone's painting something or helping sew or helping build the set, and everyone's donating raffle items to raise money. It's a big community effort within this little group, and the behind the scenes people are helping just as much as the people on stage. So it's the togetherness of that. You know, once this experience ends, I feel like we'll all consider each other friends, and that's the best part, I think, by far.
Yes,
Stephanie?
definitely. I just think, as Jess said, it's community theater, so we're all doing so much. Our director, Catherine, is actually making a lot of the costumes. And you've seen the costumes. She's outdone herself with those too. And it's just coming together, and we are literally a family now. Sometimes we see each other 6 times a week because we have weekend rehearsals when people can make it. And it's just the most warming experience you can have, really. But also when you get on stage in the finished product of just becoming someone else, or in our case, becoming a lot of different people, is just the best reward, especially with the audience reactions.
I guess I would ask you, you guys are at the point now where you're tweaking stuff, and it's even got to the point where the set pieces are coming together, the lighting. It's tech week.
It's tech week.
Crunch time.
Well, it's not, traditionally you have a 1 week tech week, but you're telling me,
2 weeks.
oh no,
2 weeks.
it's 2 weeks. Why?
Oh, yes.
Why is it 2 weeks?
I couldn't tell you exactly. They've had it planned from the beginning. I can't tell you exactly why they did that. I actually have never asked, but it's very beneficial because we, as a cast, we all work in different rooms at Hingham Town Hall. So we're not always together working on the same things. Some people might be working on the lines for a scene while the ensemble is working for where they go. And it's just putting it all together and getting the chemistry with everybody down there, and then also working with the set pieces and with sound. I think we just needed a little bit more of that bonding experience and that putting together for an entire week, and which is why they picked 2 weeks. That's just my guess.
Yeah, it's funny because at first when we auditioned, we knew the dates of the tech weeks, and it was like 2 tech weeks. I've never done that. I've never heard of that. And we still don't really know exactly why the director planned it this way, but now we're thankful. We're like, oh, thank goodness. Now we have this week, basically, we're running through the show for the first time to get the flow of it, and next week is really when the costumes are going to come in. And like Stephanie said, the director has been hand sewing for hours and hours every day, and she has other people also making some costumes. The little touches on the props and the costumes are going to be really great once everything's together. So I'm excited to see it all come together.
Yeah.
Who are some of the characters that you've been watching? Some of the top line characters, whether it's Beast or Belle. I mean, what's it like watching them grow? Because they're essential parts of a show that are important to connecting with the audience, and it's important that the actors who are portraying those roles be somewhat spot on to be able to connect, right?
Right. I think personally, my favorite is Brett, who is our Chip. I think he just has completely taken over the role. He is adorable.
Really cute.
In his role. I think when it started out, he really just was so into character. It brought not only the ensemble together, but the principals became more in sync with their character. And then our Belle Carol and our Beast Dave are so brilliant at their roles too. It almost makes it easy. Not saying that it's easy, but they're just so good and they're so into their roles that it's easy for us to kind of go back to 1800 France.
Play off of those characters, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I know my friend who got me into the group, Greg, who's Lumiere, is going to probably be my favorite because he is born to play the part, let me say that. And
he really is.
You say that.
He really is. He's very tall. My sister knows him from, when I was in high school with him and said, oh, he looks like a candlestick. He fits the role. He really does. And he's hilarious. He's got the accent down. He's really a funny guy and is great with those characters. And I think going through the audition process was interesting because some people couldn't make auditions and then got cast in large parts. And our LeFou was one of those. So we see the cast list and I said, who is this Tony person? He wasn't at auditions, but he had auditioned before because he couldn't make it. And once he started, right away with read through, I was like, okay, I understand why this person got this role. LeFou is Gaston's sort of sidekick, and he's just perfect in this role. Our LeFou is going to be really funny as well.
Yes, there's so much talent in this cast. It's incredible. I feel so lucky and so honored to be not just in the show, but being around these people because they just are so talented.
Now, I would ask you to name off half of these people, but my fear is just you might end up forgetting somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're like going, oh, because it happens to all of us. Anybody who tries to thank or name off X amount of people, then you go, oh, I know I'm going to miss somebody.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to do that at this particular time, or if you wanted to talk about, because we talk about the folks who are putting on the show, but there are also people who are behind the scenes other than the director who are doing things to make this thing possible, right?
Yeah, I was going to say Julie Grant, we mentioned, is the choreographer. And there's so much dancing that she deserves kudos, but Catherine Ritter is the director, and she's in Hanover. And then Sarah Troxler is our music director. I think she lives in Plymouth, and she is just also great. The three of them, you know, are the main people that are directing us.
Like a power team.
And they are. They're really fantastic. And without one, it wouldn't be nearly as great as it is. So those three are definitely, they deserve kudos for sure.
Yeah. Also our set and sound guy, Tofi, who is doing it basically all by himself, which I can't believe he's doing this. He has so much equipment, so much knowledge of what he's doing. And as he's doing it, he's not really in our way when we're on stage or something like that.
There's an art form.
Yeah,
trying
it's
his best
really
to stay out of the way. And
yeah.
while doing it himself, basically. That's community theater. You know, it's hard. It's like that we don't have a set crew. We're trying to ask for volunteers at this point to help us move things, but a lot of us will be moving things on stage ourselves. And
when we didn't have rehearsals, we'd go help with sets, go help Catherine with costumes. Yeah.
But that's the beauty of community theater.
Oh,
is that when you're not on stage, when you're not getting into costume, you're helping to get the next scene ready.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, those 10 or 15 feet that are moving things around the stage, you know, and getting things set up. So when the lights come back up, folks see the next scene, which is very interesting.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but I know recently it's actually been cast members moving sets around.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's the way they're going to do it, but I kind of hope it is because we seem to be good at it.
Stephanie's good at moving chairs.
Okay.
I was assigned to move Gaston's chair while the silly girls have their little dance with him. And it's just awesome because I don't want to be in a show where I'm just acting. Every show I've been in, I've done something. Like when I was in Peter Pan, I worked with my mom on my costume. This show we've done...
Jeannie, right?
Jean, yes.
Yeah, Jean, okay.
We worked on my costume. In this show, we've been working on sets. We've been working on everything like that. Polly, who's another silly girl, who's just like, I have the perfect hairstyle and makeup for you to do that. And everybody is just so multi-talented, not just on stage, but off stage. And I'd never want to be a part of something that's not like that.
Okay. Let me ask you both to beckon back to a particular part that you have done in the past that you learned something or did something that's helping you this time around. Now, Jess, it might be a little bit more of a reach for you to think back to when you did shows back a decade ago. But what's something that you learned back in the day that is still with you as somebody who, you know, is taking on a role in doing community theater?
You know, that's an interesting question, and my immediate thought is actually probably why I haven't done theater in so long. And I think it's like commitment. I think I realized when I did theater in high school that it is a commitment, time commitment. You've got to put yourself into it, you know. And I'm fascinated by people in our production today who have full-time jobs, who still on top of that do this, or families and full-time jobs. It's amazing to me because now that my job is part-time is why I said, okay, now I've got the time to put into a show. And I know that aside from the rehearsals, it takes more time. You've got to do it on your own. You've got to memorize those words and you've got to practice on your own. So it's the commitment that I'd learned about early on that kind of prevented me from doing a show until now, because now I've got the time to make that commitment again.
And as someone who's 17, but you've done a bunch of shows, and they've ranged as to what the different parts and your roles have been. What's something that you've taken from a previous show that you've learned that has stayed with you every show that you've done?
Maybe not a particular show, but a particular person named Peggy Spencer, who is the director at Quincy High School.
Okay.
I have cousins that go there, and they just asked me to join in when I was in middle school to kind of just be part of the ensemble. I couldn't be a lead role because I didn't go to the high school, but she was the one who I was just like, I love this because of you. She introduced me to stage presence, how you're supposed to act, to be respectful of yourself, other actors, other crew members. Just, I think the way that she treated us, which was with just love and respect, just set me up for everything I did. And right after I left there, I became a freshman in high school, and then I was Peter Pan in my high school's production of Peter Pan. And I don't think I could have done that, not just the audition process, but actually be on stage without her training, without her being in my life. So she is kind of the basis of me for doing this and why I have now gone back into theater because I did little shows when I was younger, but stopped and then kind of went back because of her, because she made me love it so much, and I'm so glad she did, because then I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Is there somebody that you kind of point to that's kind of helped you as somebody, whether it's as somebody who does theater or even in your career as a person who does radio?
I would say, the people who were a part of my high school productions were definitely really, I like that they took themselves seriously. I mean, it's high school, but when you treat it like it's the real deal, that gives you the training, that you need to actually put on a great show. And I was lucky enough to go to a college too, where they took things very seriously there as well, which prepared me for my radio career, So I think it's just that level of excellence from the people that I worked with in high school and in college that really set me on the path that I've been on. I've got to thank Greg Weber, who is Lumiere in the show, because
he's brilliant.
Because he's brilliant, and because, I recently moved back to the area in the fall, so almost a year ago, and that's when I told him, I'm moving back, and I know you've been doing theater all along, so let me know if you audition for anything that I might want to audition for, and he did, and he got me to come to this audition. So he's really, all along. We worked together, we were in shows together in high school, and now we're in this show together again, and he's got me into this group. So he's been, and I also look up to him as an actor. He's brilliant, so he's very instrumental in my my career on stage.
Would you say that being a broadcaster also will be able to help you at that time when the lights go up and when it's time to get out on the stage? You're somebody who's used to dealing and talking with the public and doing it in a live setting.
It's a great question, because a lot of people say that to me, oh, you must feel really comfortable on stage because you're on the radio, but really, I mean, it gives me a good feeling for timing and kind of thinking on my feet and being good under pressure, I think, but it's very different to sit in a room by myself behind a microphone playing music versus getting up on stage in front of people. And I think the only reason that I can get up on stage and do theater is because I'm in character. Because as myself, as a radio DJ, when I have to go get up on stage and introduce an artist or something, I get so nervous, and I really don't enjoy that part of the job, honestly. I'd rather be back in my little room behind the soundboard. But it does help in terms of being quick in an emergency. If something goes a little wrong, I'm good at improvising and things like that. It gives me some of those things, but getting up on stage is still terrifying for me.
I think it's no matter how far into the business you are, if you're community or regional or any kind of professional, there's no amount of nerves that goes away. But I love the way you said it. You're in character. That's who you are in that moment. And when October 15 comes around, we are going to be wolves, we're going to be napkins, we're going to be villagers.
Silly girl.
That's who we're going to be. And we're not going to be just Jess and Steph anymore. And that's what made it easier.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
And I want to kind of throw it back to you for half a second here. You talk about some of the stuff that you've done, but you've done shows at the Company Theater, which is as close to as going and doing something in Boston, except you don't have to pay all that money for parking. It is. The Company Theater in Norwell is the creme de la creme of theater here on the South Shore, and they don't just bring in anybody to participate in their shows. You have to have some real serious talent.
I really thank the Company Theater for everything that they've given me opportunities to do. A year ago today, probably around today, I auditioned for Hair there, and I got on. It was not ensemble, it was called The Tribe, but I also was Burger's mother, so I had a few lines, but it was Company Theater, so I was fine with it. Yeah, and it was so good. It was so loving, and because it was the team program, it was also a workshop. So they teach you everything about the stage presence and everything about off stage too, because we didn't have a crew for that. It was us walking on and off stage, getting our props. And Hair, you had one set and it didn't really move. But then when I did Almost Maine there and I was Marvelin, that's when you did everything yourself. We did not have a crew at all. We had someone up in the booth on our lights, and then Kevin Klein, who I love and adore, our director. He, again, treated it like almost like a workshop where he taught us, but we went on stage, we did our scenes, we took our set pieces on stage, took them off stage. Mine was a little bit more minimal because I just had an ironing board and a basket for my scene, but other people had to bring out tables and chairs and doors and stuff, but it was all specific for your scene. So not only are you just going on to act and you have to be in the moment, but you have to remember that where you're putting everything to make the scene happen, which I am so grateful for them for. And now I'm in A Christmas Carol there, which is one of their main stage shows. And if you know anything about company theater, they take their Christmas Carol very seriously. Oh, yeah. I am so honored and so almost taken back by the way this rehearsal process is going. And
well, that's another show. We'll have to have you back to talk about that. We've just got a little less than 5 minutes left. Is there a question that I haven't asked you about the show? Again, Beauty and the Beast, opening up Saturday, October 15th, 7:30. That's when the curtain's going up at the Hingham Civic Music Theatre. Anything I haven't asked you, but it feels kind of essential to telling the folks to get their fannies in the seats.
Yeah,
One of those 5 dates.
I think that for people who want to come to see the show, I think they should know that it's going to be pretty magical. There's like that element to Beauty and the Beast.
It's Disney magic.
It is.
It really is.
It's Disney magic. We also have such talented people, as we've been saying, who are really funny. So you're going to laugh, you know, and then you're going to be emotional because we've got a Belle who really puts herself into the role, has an amazing voice, and the Beast also sings his songs with so much emotion. There are tender moments, there are really funny moments, and then the dancing. I mean, some people might go to see Beauty and the Beast without realizing how much dancing is going to be in there.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of fun production numbers that are going to really entertain, so.
Yeah. And it's really for all ages. Like, I didn't realize how much it was for all ages until doing this show, I'm not going to lie, because there's definitely some scenes I remember from being little, and then some kind of jokes that are for more adult audiences.
It takes on a new meaning when you know, you're an adult doing the show. Yeah, it's, you know, definitely for all ages. I would agree. At first I was like, oh, all the kids are going to love this show. And now I'm like, oh, everyone's going to love this show.
Everybody's going to love it. I know my grandma's coming in from Boston to come see the show, and I'm really excited because she hasn't come seen a show of mine in a really long time. And she's going to love it because she loves Disney, and then my dad's going to love it. My little sister's going to love it. It's just going to be amazing for everybody.
Is there a website or a social media way for folks to get engaged if they want to look up tickets or any other information about Beauty and the Beast?
Yes, we have a Facebook page for the Hingham Civic Music Theatre. Okay. And same thing for online. You can just Google the website or type it in.
It's HCMT.org, the website.
Like that.
And then, Facebook, we actually have a lot of action on Facebook. Pat Sherman is also one of those behind-the-scenes people that should get a thank you because she does so much on Facebook to let people know, you know, give them a little taste with a few photos from, you know, rehearsal, and let people know how they can get tickets and when the, you know, when the important dates are and things. So there's a lot on Facebook if you look for it.
Even if you search it, I know cast members, we're posting stuff all the time because we really just want people to come see this show because it's going to be so good.
Well, I want to thank both of you, Jess and Stephanie, for giving us a little bit of a glimpse into this show, and hopefully folks will get out there and buy tickets. And we thank you for joining us here for another episode of Crosstalk. Until next time,